What's coming up this week? I have to tell you really quickly. I saw today, I have to finish watching it. You go into like BS celebrity beauty,
Mhm.
hacks or lies. I don't, how quickly I put thorough body after Gwyneth Paltrow posted about it over the weekend on in my cart. It was shocking. So I'm hoping you're not going to tell me that Gwyneth Paltrow is lying about the thorough body.
Actually, I leave Gwyneth alone in this segment, but I do
Okay.
take Gwyneth to task at the top of the show, and I take her celeb spawn out to the woodshed at the end of the show with a scandal that nobody will believe it. It's so vicious and savage, and they've tried to cover it up. It's alleged, but
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and proceed with purchase and I will worry about it, whether or not it actually works
give
later.
me your Yelp review when you're done with it. Let me see.
Exactly.
What
Yeah.
happened?
All right. So I want that this story comes out. I immediately think of you. I want to immediately start tearing into this person, but I thought I'd hold on to it until we actually spoke because I know that you know how much of a terror Chrissy Teigen is. And
Mhm.
the idea that Meghan Markle, that's the big name Meghan Markle has for season 2 of With Love, Meghan, does that just confuse you beyond all comprehension from a PR perspective to place these two women, allegedly notorious bullies, next to each other, two women that are trying to fight this narrative? Doesn't that just enhance everyone's mind? Like in our minds, aren't we looking at these two standing next to each other going, Satan spawn and Satan spawn's BFF? There's just I can't imagine a publicist going, this sounds like a great idea.
I agree with you completely, as always. As in 99% of the time, I agree with you, Kinsey. But we're not talking about normal people here. We are talking about two desperate fame whores who married men to elevate their own stature. Chrissy Teigen has no talent. Like I
Yeah.
talked about this on The Nerve, actually, the last episode. Like she was famous for a minute because people would be like, "Oh wow, isn't she so clever on social media? Like, isn't she so funny?" And then it came out that she was bullying a young starlet named Courtney Stodden, both on the open internet and then sliding into her DMs and saying, "You should kill yourself." Okay, I don't know the exact wording, but she was saying, "You should go kill yourself."
Yeah.
Okay, that's somebody, you are a sick, sick individual if that's how you get your kicks. Okay, so
Yes.
Chrissy Teigen, I think, is human garbage. She's garbage.
She is garbage.
Meghan Markle, who, someone just emailed me and was reminding me to reread the Australian coverage of Harry and Meghan's official royal tour in Australia and the hissy fits she was throwing. And, the hot beverage that allegedly found itself smacking an assistant in the body, in the face, I don't know where. So there are two bullies who are desperate to be considered America's best friend among a cohort of females who they believe are easily influenced to purchase their garbage.
Mhm.
They're garbage.
Let's start with the ultimatum that changed royal history. According to royal reporter Valentine Low, Meghan Markle forced Prince Harry's hand by threatening to leave him if he didn't go public with their relationship. The timing? Right after a Halloween party. The pressure? Intense. And Harry, terrified of losing her, possibly because of his unresolved trauma over Princess Diana, caved immediately.
Yeah. When it comes to Meghan and Harry, I feel like because I might have put it in our show notes, I probably did, but the idea that they're polling the worst they've ever polled, I'm sure that there are some sort of crisis management meetings that happen regularly where they try to determine how to change public perception. I mean, in the last few years, the joke has always been like another rebrand for Meghan, another rebrand for Harry and Meghan, another rebrand. But I wonder if one of the reasons that people just refuse to change course on their thoughts about Harry and Meghan, aside from the fact that they hate them and they're probably right for it, is because they don't their actions don't follow their words. You are just campaigning in New York to keep children off of social media. You are just campaigning to protect children on social media, children that have been so bullied that they take their own lives. And then you go and elevate this person by elevate, Meghan's favorite word, by putting them, you're giving this person credibility by putting them on your show. You're endorsing this person by putting them on your show. And like you just pointed out, this is the same person that bullied a child, a 16-year-old kid, who now says that they were groomed. Uh,
Mhm.
you you're endorsing them by having them standing next to you on your show. Your actions don't match your words.
Well, this has been Megan's problem since day one. And we all see her grasping for anything that will sort of reinforce this notion that she is welcomed among fellow famous people. There's this idea that I think that she holds, which is so completely immature and sad, frankly, that like, well, if somebody's famous, they must be a great person to know. I mean, I can point to any number of examples where it's actually the exact opposite. And people who often get to that level of fame have left a lot of bodies in their wake. There's a ruthlessness that comes with that that is not appealing. And it's all we see with her right now. I mean, again, with every sort of law, like, first of all, my question is, she announced, oh, we're renewed for season two, right? That's not a renewal. Like, they shot the whole thing at once and then they chopped it up, and, they got to burn off the rest of it in the fall. But is she shooting additional episodes? Because this Chrissy Teigen announcement feels very like breaking news, right? Like, why wasn't she included in the initial rollout? Like, if she had Chrissy, why not front load her in the beginning? Because the only other real name Meghan had, sorry, was Mindy Kaling.
I think that those are the only two names she had in this whole thing other than Prince Harry. And Prince Harry apparently is not seen at all in season two, which I don't think is going to bode well, because there are people like me that now have no reason to watch it. I told you the last time this came out, I was instructed to watch 3 episodes to react to Prince Harry's presence or mention in those episodes. I don't even think I'll be able to tolerate season two, round two, without any Prince Harry. And that is your only currency.
That's not love. That's manipulation. It's a classic psychological tactic. Create urgency, push emotional buttons, and gain total control. And sadly, it worked. What's even more disturbing is how Meghan, according to Maureen, convinced Harry that she was in danger, just like his mother Diana was. She allegedly inserted herself into his trauma narrative, making him feel like he needed to protect her no matter the cost. Not just emotionally, but socially, financially, even geopolitically.
It is her only currency. And I don't, I just don't know what she's doing, because in anticipation of coming on to talk to you, I did listen to a little bit of the
Why?
latest podcast.
Oh my
Okay.
God. You and I both, I was about to jump out the window.
Okay, Kinsey, I started off with my earbuds in, and within 2 minutes, I was like, I cannot physically have her voice this close, like in my ear canal. I have to remove the earbuds and put it on speaker and move it a little bit away. This is how like revolting I find her,
Yeah.
and she's talking a bunch of garbage to some woman who founded a makeup line, a woman who, by the way, comes from enough money that she says to her mother, I know you're saving up for all of our weddings. So this woman's put aside like 100K for each kid. She comes from money. Give me my money so I can have my seed money. But she's talking about bootstrapping and like struggling, and spare me. Okay.
Yeah,
This,
both of them are like that though. Like both of them are not, eating out of a dumpster because are not able to pay their rent because they're so emotionally invested in these brands. They're Meghan Markle is in the position she's in because of the man she married. Yeah, you're talking about Kitsch founder Cassandra Thurswell. I secretly love the fact that they have sent me a bunch of free swag because I'm like, and oh, you were friends with Meghan and I'm getting free swag. Clearly, you don't know what my day job is.
no kidding.
But it says, speaking to her guest, because Meghan made it all about herself yet again, Meghan revealed how she likes to show up for people, with this gesture extending over to her business as ever. She also talked about how she always imagined having her kid on her hip doing speeches, and how her circumstances changed that direction. The discussed the struggle of balancing their parenting duties with growing their business. We just found out Meghan has a nanny. Well, are we really supposed to be able to relate to this woman who also, I think Doria Ragland almost lives with them full time as well. She has plenty of help. I'm sorry, but you don't fit in this category of like boss girl working mom who's about to pull her hair out when you've got plenty of people to help you juggle it all.
Yeah, I don't believe there's only one nanny.
Yeah.
There are multiple nannies. I think there are multiple handlers. Multiple the household staff is vast, I believe. What's also really interesting about so the show is so boring to listen to, and the only thing that is remotely like interesting are these little tells that Megan gives about what a freaking, my opinion, malignant narcissist she is. She tells us that she has known this woman since they were both sort of struggling in their respective industries and was introduced to her at age like 23 or 24. This woman came over to help her figure out how to dress. If she's any good at it, none of the lessons stuck because we just keep looking at Megan in these like billowing pants that are the hems are dragging all over the place. Okay. And the clothes are wrinkled and whatever. And so she says, so Cassie, and then Cassie goes, it's so funny, Megan, shades of, I'm Sussex now. It's so funny you call me Cassie, because like the only people in my life who call me that are my closest family members. So it's a little cut. It's a little like you're assuming a familiarity with me that you don't have and hasn't been earned, right? And then Megan goes, oh, well, I just love that I'm one of the people who can call you that because, we've known each other for so long. And then it comes out that Megan knew none of this woman's backstory.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I didn't know any of that. You didn't know because you didn't ask her one single freaking question about herself because you only are interested in people to the extent that they can redound to your benefit in some way. It's ridiculous.
She built a fortress of fear around him, then installed herself as queen. This isn't romantic. It's manipulative. It's emotional hostage-taking. Let's talk about the systematic isolation. Meghan allegedly refused to tolerate Harry's friends' humor, criticized their private conversations, and ultimately caused Harry to stop seeing them altogether. We've seen this before in toxic relationships. It's called isolation and it's one of the oldest tools in the control playbook.
Do you think that this will last? I mean, I'm not disparaging Limonada Media, but it's not like Spotify where the return on investment is so important, having cut them such a significant check or original deal. I think Limonada is kind of like a go with the flow kind of place, and the name association in their mind benefits them. I feel like they might, as long as she's not difficult, and we know she was at Spotify, calling in, demanding changes, at the very last minute, them having to pull the episode, re-upload it, 17 freaking producers for one show. Do you think that as long as she's not difficult, Lemonada will allow her to kick this can? Because I'm with you. I think that the content is almost painful. There's nothing enjoyable when it comes to Confessions of a Female Founder. I don't believe she's friends with any of these people in real life because she's so awkward in the way she communicates. So you don't get that. Like people message me all the time. They say they can tell that we love each other. We do. We're comfortable with each other. We're not frigid,
Right.
I just don't know if there's any value in this from a PR perspective. I'm sure Lemonada's like, oh, it's brand recognition for us, but it just seems like such a waste.
God, what I would give to see those numbers. Like what
Yeah.
I would give to see the analytics, because they can tell down to the second how
Mhm.
engaged an audience is when they're tuning out, when they're coming back. Like I would kill, and this is why I don't feel, I've ceased to feel sorry anymore for anybody who gets in business with these two. You know exactly what you're getting. You know it.
Yeah.
So if you take a hit, it's on you. Okay. Now, the problem with, I'm always diagnosing Megan, like, but she's sort of she's just like one of those patients. There was this famous book written in the 40s called The Mask of Sanity, and it was by a doctor who kind of figured out there's this portion of the population that is psychopathic, and they cannot be treated. They're resistant to any kind of treatment. And I view Meghan as kind of just completely treatment resistant on any level, right? There's no amount of advice she will take. There's no amount of scolding that will humble her. There's no lesson she will learn that will cause her to course correct, nothing. But I think the foundational sediment of her problem is that she has zero sense of humor.
Mm.
And if you don't have a sense of humor, you have nothing for anybody to latch on to relate to you about. You can't laugh at yourself. You take yourself so seriously. Why do you take yourself so seriously? You're on this planet for a nanosecond. Enjoy. She can't. She can't. And I think that is her fun. And so when she's doing these things like, oh, I was just looking at my old report. Who looks at their old report cards? Or, oh, that was so funny. That was so funny. You're like, it's all fake.
Yeah.
It's real.
I think you're the first person I've ever heard say that about how she has no sense of humor and how detrimental that is truly, because we all talk about authenticity and that is at, of course, at the core, yes, but have laugh at something sincere, laugh at something genuine. Prince Harry used to.
Mhm.
And there's the story of them going on a shooting weekend and her scolding him and his friends because she didn't like the jokes that they were telling, and he hasn't hung out with a lot of those people since then because she was so horrified by their sense of humor and the way that they engaged with each other, which is sad for him. And we could see that when he was randomly knocking on doors that he feels so deflated. But it's almost I said for a couple of years these two need to adopt self-deprecation and people might tolerate them a little bit better, but I think it's too late in the game now. I think if we saw that now we'd be like, oh god, just stop trying. You gave the example of the bridge, London Bridge, and Meghan just like careening into it. Like, I'm shoving myself on you. I'm not going to stop. And that's kind of how it is now. Even if they tried to go the self-deprecation route and like make a joke out of it all, we'd be like, could you just stop? We just need some air. You guys are, I feel a restraining order coming on me against you. Leave me alone.
So let's ask, who's left? Not William. Not Charles. Not the friends who knew him before. Just Meghan. Mission accomplished. And here's where this gets especially chilling. If this were a man isolating a woman from her entire world, cutting her off from her family, career, and legacy, we'd call it abuse. But because it's Meghan doing it to Harry, we're supposed to shrug it off as strong-willed ambition? Kinsey and Maureen are right. The double standard is glaring. It's time to stop pretending Harry's just doing his own thing. He's not free. He's entangled. In Meghan's carefully curated diaries, we see something telling. It's always M to London, never H to Toronto or H to LA. She was chasing him and pushing the momentum. She needed the relationship to be public, powerful, and hers to control. Harry was the golden ticket. No. He's knocking on random people's doors trying to prove he's still a relatable guy. It's pathetic.
Yes, so by the way, Kinsey, when I saw that footage this weekend, this was like breaking news here in New York.
Yeah.
A Mexican Navy ship with like a huge mast and all of these billowing sails careened itself right into the Brooklyn Bridge. And it just you saw the ship go, like it just fell apart. The bridge is the immovable object, but the ship just keeps on going. Like it's smashing and it keeps on going. And in my mind, I saw that. I said, Meghan Markle is the ship and the Brooklyn Bridge is the rest of us.
Yes.
And she's going to keep smashing into us with her repeated attempts to be successful and well liked. And we are going to completely gray rock and resist it. You can smash up against our rock as much as you want. It's not happening, sister. Okay.
Oh.
And by the way, that anecdote about the hunting weekend, such a good hang that, Meghan, right? You know, like, oh, Harry's like, I'm bringing Meghan. Everybody's like, Jesus Christ. Did you ever hear the rumor, and you would be the person to know, that at some point in their courtship, like he was getting second thoughts. He was really like, I don't know about this. He was beginning to put distance between them. And there was a wedding of one of Harry's closest friends, like in Jamaica, and she wasn't invited, but she showed up anyway.
I did not hear that she wasn't invited, but she showed up anyway. But I heard that there was tension there.
It's interesting. I think the
That's
truth is somewhere in the middle, maybe.
yeah. No, I think it's worth looking up. Like I hesitate to believe that there were second thoughts because she kept threatening him. I'm going to leave you if you don't. Valentine Low writes about this, I believe, in Courtiers, and he's got a new book coming out. And Valentine Low says that she threatened, when he initially announced their relationship, um, it was because she said, we do this and you tell everybody I'm with you. And remember, she's this little old girl on a cable show, Suit.
Right.
Like, I'm sure it is, and she's an influencer. I'm sure it's killing her that she can't tell the world that she bagged this guy, because she's been hustling her entire life for fame, and this she knows is going to take her to the next level. So word gets out that they get a call allegedly on like the night after Halloween or the night after a Halloween party, and allegedly she's like, we tell them, we say we're together, or I'm done, I don't want to hide anymore. Then she, according to Valentine Low, threatens to leave him if he doesn't come out and defend her from some of the coverage, the tabloid coverage she doesn't like in the UK. And I remember having to cover this in Sacramento as a local news anchor, being like, what? We had to cover that Harry was defending her from racism. And at the time, I don't even think that some of the examples that they give existed yet. I think that there were a couple of headlines, which I do not, straight out of Compton. It was just stupid. It was just dumb. But there were a couple of instances where she threatened to leave him. And a part of the reason why I don't believe that he had any second thoughts is because she created a real fear of abandonment in him that she knew he was already struggling with because of his mom.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like he was always like, I don't want to lose her. I don't want to lose her. I don't want to lose her. I feel like we still see that today.
Maureen delivers a brutal truth. Meghan is treatment resistant. She doesn't take advice. She doesn't adjust. She doesn't laugh at herself. And because of that, her public persona is flat, fake, and joyless. Even Harry looks deflated beside her now. Meghan is the captain of the ship. But the ship is smashing into the bridge of public opinion again and again. There's no course correction. Only wreckage.
Well, now we definitely see it because he's in so deep, right? He's cut off his entire family of origin, and he's got these two kids and this new life, and she's running around town telling everybody how happy they are every 5 minutes. Excuse my language. But I think I'm very curious about the power dynamics, because I think in the early days they were shifting, and what told me that was the Netflix doc, the first version that those two did. And she's talking about how after that first date, it was just like they had to see each other all the time. And so it was always like flying and flying and flying. And if you look at the diaries that she kept of her travels, because of course she did, it's always M to London, M to London. And now she's working. I will give her that. She has a schedule. It's never H to Vancouver, ever. What is he doing? That guy's got nothing but free time. Right. Nothing. So she's the one who's really pursuing him.
Yeah.
While embedding in his mind, like, I'm the reincarnation of your mother. You have to protect me. I'm going to be in grave mortal danger. And I think even her threats to leave him could have been a kind of, I'm going to beat you to it, right? I'm going to threaten. Now I'm going to put that fear in you. How do you like it? That's what I think. I don't, because his friends hate her. Yeah. They hate her. And and William was like, don't slow this down. I mean, I'm sure Catherine was like, you might want to slow this down, and when everyone in your life who has been there since the beginning is having a reaction this strong, I know he's thick. I know his mother said it, but I cannot believe that didn't have some role in him maybe having a second thought or two once in a while.
Mm-hmm. I also think there's the Romeo and Juliet of it all, though. Like when you've got, because Earl Spencer stepped in because of Prince William's request. When you have everybody saying she's not right for you, you're like, but I love her. And it almost makes you like more obsessed with the idea. But no, he's so stubborn to begin with. You talk about the power dynamics. There is something to be said. Like if this were a man that had taken a woman away from her entire family and she was isolated, we would be sitting back going like, is there any sort of emotional abuse happening here? The fact that this person, this girl has lost her entire life. If it was a princess who had lost her entire life and her standing in society, I mean, Prince Harry's a joke now, knocking on dumpster doors. We would all literally be concerned for this person. But the fact that it's Meghan that is the boss, it seems like we just are all sitting back going, okay. I mean, Harry's not a victim. I should say that. I think he's been so cruel to his family. He's no victim. But I also think that if if the sexes were changed, I do think that people would be a little bit more judgmental. And because Meghan's the one in the driver's seat, people are like, oh, but she's so, she's basically a reality star. How much control can she have over him? He was a prince.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think early on, I certainly felt like that. Like this is somebody who seems to be systematically, cutting all of his ties to anyone else and isolating him. And that's what I'm not saying she is, but that's what abusers do. That's what they do. And I think the problem is, though, that he is just as reprehensible and so deeply unlikable. We saw the real Harry. He's entitled. He's full of grievances. He made his dying grandfather's last moments on this earth hell with that Oprah interview, slinging around those accusations of racism. He did it to his grandmother, the late Queen Elizabeth. He's done it to everybody, and nobody, he sold out his entire family. And then he just went on the BBC and said, basically in sum and substance, my family, my father, the king, and my brother, the future king, want me dead.
Wait,
But I would love to get back in. Who cares about what his hell is like at home? I frankly think like you're the architect of your own misery. If you're sad, I don't feel bad for you. You have it coming. You get what you give. Like this is it. This is life.
That's the full breakdown of Meghan Markle's alleged threats, the shocking psychological power she holds over Harry, and the isolation tactics that royal insiders are finally exposing. If you believe this relationship has gone far beyond love and into manipulation, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. Is Meghan controlling Prince Harry, or is the media painting her unfairly? Let's have the real conversation.